All right, hi everybody. Welcome back to our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia and today we are going to talk about how to study English alone. So in this week's lesson, I'm going to talk a lot about goal setting so that if you are studying by yourself, you can find new things, new ways to approach your studies and new ways to kind of move forward too. So we are going to start in just a couple of minutes. I'm also going to cover in today's lesson some ideas for some resources too, in case you're kind of feeling stuck in your studies, or maybe you feel a little bit bored, as sometimes happens. So should be a good one. I hope today, my goal for you for today's lesson is to help you find a new goal, even a small goal, so that you have something like to do over the weekend or over the next week. So as you join live, please make sure to like and share this video, of course, so that other people can find today's lesson. Also, a couple of announcements while we wait. I will take the title away. First announcement is this banner at the bottom of the screen, this 35% off banner. Our team has a sale going on at EnglishClass101.com. You can take a look at that. It is for premium and premium plus plans on our website. So if you would like to study with our courses, you can take a look at the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you are watching on Facebook, to take a look at that. That is announcement number one. Announcement number two is, as always, if you have questions, about English grammar, English vocabulary, something related to culture, whatever, your little questions, you can send those to me here. This is a screenshot from the Ask Alicia series. So this is a weekly, or this is a regular Q&A series. So you can send me your whatevers, and I will try to maybe check them out and answer them here. So if you want to submit to this, send it to EnglishClass101.com/ask-Alicia. There is an official submission page there. All right, so that is all for announcements. Let's have a look at the chat. Hello, YouTube. Hi, everybody on YouTube. Welcome, welcome. I see Pradeep, Radhana. Hello, Rebecca, Sane, Kanwaljit. Hi, everybody. Thanks very much for joining us. Awesome. Thanks very much. Okay, I see lots of people are here, so I'm going to get started. I'm going to show you today's lesson boards real quick. So these are the topics we are going to study. Well, all of these are all the same topic, how to study alone. But today we're going to cover one, how to understand your strong and weak points. That's over here. Second, we're going to talk about setting good goals. This is really, really important. And in step 2 today, you are going to find your next goal. Finally, step 3, how to study alone, study resources. I'm going to talk about some ideas, some different ways that you can study, some hopefully maybe give you some ideas if you're feeling bored with your studies recently. Okay, so with that, let's get started with today's lesson. Okay, I see a lot of people in the chat. Hi. Okay, let's get started with today's lesson then. So the first thing I want to talk about today is understanding your strong and weak points. Understanding your strong and weak points. So I've written strong and weak points here. More naturally, we call these our strengths and our weaknesses. Our strengths and our weaknesses. So I'm going to begin today with this part. You need to know your strong points and your weak points so that you can understand what the next thing is you need to study. Why is this important? Well, if you always study just the things you're good at, you never improve the things you're not so good at. So it's important to know your strong points and your weak points. So this means for yourself, please think about your grammar, your vocabulary, your writing skills, your speaking skills, your listening skills, pronunciation, all of these different points. There are many small things that are inside a language. So think about all of these points for yourself. What am I strong at? What am I weak at? And so I know a lot of people usually say, oh, I'm bad at everything. I'm bad, this part right here, I'm bad at everything. Or my weak point is everything. So don't say I'm bad at everything, okay? So each person has strengths and weaknesses unique to their experiences. Each person has strengths and weaknesses unique to their experiences. This means everybody is different. Everybody has a personal strong point and a personal weak point. I do, you do too. So it's your job first to find those if you're studying alone. So I know for many people, you say, I really don't know. Like, I really don't know what I'm weak at here. Like, I feel like I'm weak with everything, but I don't know exactly what. So if you're not sure, if you think like, I really don't know, you can try this ask yourself some can I style questions. So the reason that you ask like these can I style questions is because there's an easy yes or no answer. So, for example, let's just go. The next major point is about can I style questions, okay? So use can I questions to find the things you need to study. So if you don't know how to make a can I question, I have 3 examples here. You can Google a list. Just use your Google skills. Like you can find like a they're often called can-do lists for English learners. So if you don't know how to make these for yourself, Google a list of these. So for example, ask yourself, can I introduce myself? So in English, can I introduce myself in English? If your answer is yes, great. If your answer is no, okay. If your answer is yes, a little, but it's kind of difficult, that's fine too. So ask yourself questions like these and be honest. Can I do it? Is it easy? No, like I can't do it. It's really hard. Or I can do it a little bit. Think of those kind of 3 answers. Another example, can I understand the news? Can I understand the news? So when you listen to the news, can you understand it? Yes, no, or it's a little difficult. Or one more, can I write a business email? So again, these all depend on your goals. So these are just 3 examples. So think about your own like life. Think about the things you do in your life then too, like talking on the phone or ordering something or going to the supermarket and talking to the staff there, whatever. Think of even those small things and make a question, like a can I style question, and answer it for yourself. Can I do that? Yes or no? So when you do this, focus on things that are a little difficult for you and think, why are they hard? So for example, if it's like, okay, can I understand the news? If my question is, can I understand the news? And my answer is, a little bit, I guess, then think about why. Why is it hard for me to understand the news? Like, I can understand a little, but why is it hard for me? So go back here. Is it a grammar problem? Is it a vocabulary problem? Is it a listening skills problem? They're speaking too quickly. So think about these different things inside your can I style questions. So, and then go, I think I don't have enough vocabulary, maybe. Okay, so then you know I need to study some vocabulary about like this news topic, for example, or I think it's my listening skills. So then you can look for like audio or podcast lessons that help you practice your listening skills. So that's why these kinds of steps are really important to understand which parts are weak for you and which parts are strong for you. Yeah? Because if you say, I can introduce myself, but if you practice just introducing yourself for years and years and years, you don't improve. So you need to try to do, you have to do the things that are challenging for you as well. So this is step 1 for today. Understand your strong and weak points And this is a way to understand, kind of like a way to test yourself. Many of you write me like, what's my level? What's my level? You can find what you need to study next. Like, it's hard to say you're level 1 or you're level 4 to like the world. Everyone has a different level scale, right? So this is a way to understand your next step, or the step you're at now as well too. Okay, so this is part 1 for today's lesson. Good. All right, I'm checking your comments. I don't see any questions yet, but if you have a question, please feel free to send it in the chat. Okay, I will go to a quick break, and then we'll go to part 2 for today's lesson. Okay, so if you missed it earlier, on screen right here, this banner I'm pointing to is a 35% off sale on our website at EnglishClass101.com. If you want to study with us, we have Premium and Premium Plus plans that are now at 35% off. So take a look if you have been thinking about joining one of our lessons or one of our courses. Check it out. Oh, the link is below the video if you are watching on YouTube, and above the video, the chat box if you are watching on Facebook. Okay. Some of you are saying on YouTube, is watching videos good? Yes, it can be. So I'm going to talk about resources in part 3 of this lesson. So if you are just joining, please make sure to like and share this video too, so that other people can find today's lesson. All right. So I will show you again today's lesson boards real quick. You can take a picture if you like. Okay, so we just talked about how to study alone, understanding your strong and weak points. This was part 1. Now, we're going to go to part 2. So part 2 includes your homework for this live stream lesson at the bottom. You need to make a goal for yourself. This is your homework. And then finally, last today, I'm going to talk about some study resources in part 3. So if you are asking questions about that, I will talk about that at the end of today's lesson. Okie dokie, let's go to part 2. How to study alone, setting good goals. I have talked about this many times on this channel. So if you have been watching me for a long time, you are probably ready to review. So, how to study alone. Set good goals. This is a very big problem I see for many people. Please don't flood the chat. Please do not. Flooding the chat means sending the same message many times. Set good goals. So today I'm going to review what is called SMART. You can see here, SMART. SMART goals. SMART goal settings. So, what is a SMART goal? And why do we need it? We need to set good goals because if we choose a goal that's too big or too open, we don't know what to do. Like, what's the next step? So, a good system or a good rule for you when you make goals is to make SMART goals. So, what is a SMART goal? A SMART goal is something, I'm going to talk about each point, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. So what do these things mean? Okay, specific. First of all, a specific goal is a clear, narrow goal. So clear, narrow. So narrow means like it's kind of small. It's like pinpointed. Not a big goal, not like a huge thing. So like, let's get world peace. That's a really, really big goal. Like, how do we do it? Choosing a small thing inside the goal. That's a narrow goal. Okay? Measurable. So maybe you can see the root here is measure. So that means we can know. We know when we finish the goal. We can check, did I finish this or not? It's like when you're playing a video game or when you're running in a race or something. Did you finish the game or did you finish the race? Yes or no? We know if we did it or if we didn't do it. So, measurable. You know when you're finished. Achievable is the next point. Achievable. So, achieve plus able. That means, is your goal possible to do? Is it possible to do your goal? Sometimes people make these really, really big, crazy goals that are just a little too much. So, make sure your goal is achievable. It is possible to do. Can't see the blue letters? Sorry, I'm reading them out loud. Sorry, I wrote these a little too small. I'll read them clearly. Realistic. So a realistic goal. Is this a good goal for you right now? So maybe you make a goal that's good with all of these points, but like it's too much time for you, like for your schedule right now, or it's just too much. So make sure this goal is realistic. So something that is good for you personally as well. Finally, time-based. So that means you need to make a deadline, make an end point for your goal, make a deadline. So not just, I want to be fluent, but I want to do something by a certain point in time. So let's look at some bad goals. Well, they're not bad, but let's look at some goals that need some improvement, and let's look at some examples of good goals. First example, I just said it. My goal is to be fluent. This is not a great goal. Like, I mean, yes, it's a good goal, but for your studies, like, of course we all want to be fluent. That's why we study another language. But for helping you move forward in your studies, my goal is to be fluent is not a great goal. Why? It's not specific. We don't know like the next step. We cannot measure this. Like, we can take a test, yes, but that's not a perfect measurement of our fluency. Achievable. How do we know when we achieved this goal? Like, is it possible? Yes, but like, what's the end? We don't really have a clear end. Is it realistic? Well, yeah. And time-based. There's no deadline here. So this is not a very good goal. Here's another really common one. My goal is to speak like a native. First of all, native, there are many different types of English, and there are so many different ways that we can learn how to speak. My way of speaking is one way. Like, I speak American English, yes. There are many other different types of English that you can study. So that's one thing. Speak like what kind of native? Also, like, how do you measure your ability to speak like a native? Like, it's okay to speak like yourself. So, but these are examples of goals that are not so great. So let's look at some goals that are much better and that will help you actually move forward with your studies, like help you be more targeted with your studies. Okay? First, my goal is to learn 100 new vocabulary words by the end of this month. Once more, my goal is to learn 100 new vocabulary words by the end of this month. This is a good goal because it is specific. Vocabulary words, 100. Measurable. I can check, did I do it or not? 100 words. Did I get 100? Yes? Good. Is it achievable? Yes. It's reasonable. I can study 100 words in 1 month. Is it realistic? For me personally, a few words a day? Great. Is it time-based? There's a deadline. Yes. End of this month. So this is a good goal that will move me forward. So, one good example. Another one. My goal is to learn 1 new grammar point a week. 1 new grammar point a week. Again, specific goal. We can measure it. We can check. Did I do it or not? It's good for me. It's achievable. It's possible to do the goal. It's reasonable for my schedule. And I have a deadline. So each week, 1 grammar point. Final, one more example. My goal is to be able to order food for delivery on the phone by next week. So this is a really good goal because it's like an everyday life goal. So this is a great goal if, for example, you live in the country or you live in a place where they speak the language. You can pick up the phone and decide, like, this is a really clear goal to measure too. Like, did I get my food order or not? Like, so this is a really, really great, like, everyday life way to measure your goal. Okay. Someone, Janiver, I hope I said that name right, said, is watching YouTube a goal? What do you think? Is it challenging to push play on a YouTube video? Is that hard? Okay, let's talk a little bit. I'll talk about resources later, but for now, think about that. Let's talk about goals inside goals then. So I said like this goal, my goal is to be fluent, or my goal is to speak like a native. These aren't great goals. Of course, we want to be fluent in the language that we're studying, yes. And of course, we want to try to speak naturally. So to do these sorts of things, we need to set small goals inside our big goals. So for example, a big goal, maybe my big goal is to give a business presentation this year. Okay, good, that's a big goal, and it's a SMART goal. I have a business presentation this year, nice. Someone is still writing lots of messages in the chat, the same message at the same time. Again, I'm going to talk about resources at the end of the lesson. So some small goals inside the business presentation goal. So what do I need to do inside my big goal? I need to learn some vocabulary words. I need to learn presentation skills. So I need to practice giving a presentation. So think about a big goal, and inside the big goal, think about the smaller goals too, yeah? I know this lesson is called How to Study Alone, but maybe just for teachers. I know there are teachers also who watch our lesson. Thank you. For teachers, you can do this for your students. So like when you start a lesson, or if you're teaching online these days, you can give a small goal like to your students. And if they're like little kids, what I did with my students, we had prizes. If they achieve the goal. So sometimes that means they can use the grammar they studied in your lesson, and so on. So this is something that you can do with your students as well. So everybody's homework for this section is, what's your next language goal? What is your next language goal? So write a SMART goal for yourself. You can put it in the chat. I'll read it if you're doing it live. So what is your next language goal? Make it SMART. So for example, my next language goal, I don't have it here. My next language goal, I want to finish reading a book. I'm forever studying Japanese. So I want to finish a book I am reading by the end of this summer. So I guess that's like September-ish. So it's a challenging book for me. And I read a couple pages, well, more than a couple pages a week. So that is my goal. So my goal is specific. I want to finish reading the book. I can measure it. I know, did I finish the book or not? It's achievable. For me, this is a reasonable goal. It's realistic. It's a couple pages, you know, a few pages every week. And it's time-based, so by the end of the summer. Okay, so someone said, I don't see any goals in the chat. Nobody's sending me any goals. So everybody's saying hello, but please send a goal in the chat. Some of you are just sending languages, French, Chinese. Okay, well, if you have a goal, please send it. The goal of this lesson is to help you find a new goal. There's one. Roberto says, my next language goal is to be able to understand accents, like Asian accents, like accents of speakers from different Asian countries. That's an interesting goal. Gabriel says, I want to speak English without any stress or mistakes. That's my big issue. Hold on. I make mistakes when I speak English. Everybody makes mistakes. Also, how are you going to measure that? How do you know when you made a mistake? That's a goal. That's something forever. So again, everybody should make SMART goals. If you missed it, please review this lesson. This is to help you move forward with your studies so you don't just be frustrated forever. Some of you are sending me goals. No, whoa, not related to language. Okay, Fernan says, goal, memorizing a song in English. Nice, okay, do you already have your song? Sergey says, my goal is to prepare a letter weekly for my friends. Nice, very nice, okay. Some of you are sending me some really weird goals that are not related to this lesson. Okay. AI3X says, I want to learn 3 words a day at least. Nice goal, good example. Also, she says, I'm going to finish Grammar in Use textbook this year. Ah, okay, good. So yeah, a textbook goal. Nice one. I'm going to talk about resources at the end of the lesson too. Okay. Some of you are saying, my goal is to understand this language. My goal is to understand this language. Make a smaller goal. That is the goal of this lesson, to get you to make a small goal. A small goal. Okay? My goal, many of you are sending me very weird goals. I want, what? Oh my gosh, the chat is going so fast. Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't read them. Okay, lots of you are just asking me about resources now. A lot of you are also talking about test goals. Tests, that's a really, really good deadline too. A lot of you are saying, I want to get this score, I want to get that score too. That's great. But remember, inside your test study goals, there are lots and lots of small points you need to do. Make your goals smaller. That is my point today. Make your goals smaller. Small goals. I know it sounds like it's outside of like what you need to do, but you have to do the small things to achieve the big things as well. It will help you, I promise. Eric says my goal is to eat tacos. That's everyone's goal. Okay, let's take a break and then we'll talk about resources, what you guys have been badgering me about for the entire live stream this week. So real quick, a quick break if you missed it. If you are interested, our team has a 35% off sale at EnglishClass101.com right now. It is for premium and premium plus plans. So if you want to join one of our courses, one of our programs, check it out. There is a link below the video on YouTube or above the video if you are watching on Facebook. So check it out. Okay, so with that, let's go to the last part of today's lesson. I'll show you today's lesson boards once more. Here they are. Okay, so we just talked about understanding your strong points and weak points in part 1. Part 2 was setting good goals. Finally, what everybody is saying today, study resources. We're going to cover some ideas at the end of today's lesson, which is now. So let's get started on part 3. Also, if you have not, please make sure to like and share this video. All right, study resources. Here we go. Calmly. Okay, study resources, some ideas. So again, I started this lesson by saying, with step 1 today, understand your strong and weak points. Understand your strong and weak points. So, your study resource should match your weak point. What is the thing you need to study? Choose something that helps you with your weak point, yeah? So, like, it can be your favorite method of study, but make sure that you are choosing something that's helping you to improve. Okay, so, study resources. Books and magazines. Books, magazines, newspapers, whatever. Stuff that you can read. So, as with everything on this list, everything is the same here. Make sure that you do it actively. So, when you read a book or a magazine or something, read it, then reread it. So reread means read it again. So come back to it later. Take notes. Also, when you choose things to read, look for example, when you choose a book to read, choose things you can read like 80 to 90% of with no dictionary. For this, I'm not talking about textbooks. I mean like just a book. A children's book is fine. If a children's book is your level right now, great, that's okay. So choose things that you can read 80 to 90% of with no dictionary. This is something that can help you to understand how to use vocabulary more naturally and to understand more natural uses of grammar, like how grammar, like the words connect to each other. This is also a good way to naturally study prepositions like by, to, at, in books and magazines. So a lot of you ask me, what's the best book for my level? That's something that you have to choose. I don't know your level. I don't know exactly what your vocabulary skills are. So take some time. Like when I choose a new book in Japanese, I go to the bookstore and I take a long time. I look at a few different books I'm interested in and I choose the book that seems like the best match for my level at that time. So please be an active learner. Don't wait for someone to tell you which book to read. Choose a book when you go to the bookstore or when you're reading online that matches your level. So this, usually I try to choose books that are about like this, so 80 to 90%. I don't need a dictionary for. That means I don't have to check a dictionary constantly. Maybe there are like 1 or 2 words, or maybe 3 words on one page. I don't know. If I have to stop every sentence, it's too difficult. So check the book before you read it. Okay, next thing, podcasts. Podcasts. So if you don't know podcasts are for listening. It is audio. So of course, like you can listen to an audio lesson or like a language learning podcast, or you can listen to like just a regular podcast, people having a conversation or someone telling a story. So again, important, listen more than once. Some podcasts also have transcripts. So a transcript means it's a file. You can check the words, the script. So sometimes podcasts have a transcript. Like on our website, there are audio lessons, and you can read the transcript as you listen. So again, listen more than once. And when you listen actively too. Like, don't just turn it on in the background and be like, oh, I'm studying. Like, make sure you listen actively, listen more than once. Pay attention to new vocabulary words, to certain grammar structures, and so on. So please be an active learner. Next one, which so many of you have asked me about today, I hope you thought about it. Movies, TV, YouTube, these kinds of things. People ask, is it good? Is it studying? It can be. Again, watch actively. Be an active participant. So that means like maybe take notes sometimes. Oh, this is a new vocabulary word, or use your phone to look up a new word you saw on TV. Re-watch things. So again, be active in what you're doing. Be active when you do these. Because yes, absolutely, these can be and are great tools, not just for language, but for learning culture points. So use these, but please be active. So don't just sit and sort of watch but not think. Like, make sure you are using your brain when you do these things. Okay, textbooks. Textbooks, of course, are very, very important tools for all of us who are studying anything, really. So study, yes, study, but review also. I think many learners don't review. You need to see information more than once to remember it long term. So a good tip, this is something I sometimes do, is to, after you study something, so like I use my textbook, I study a new grammar point, and then like the next week, I want to use it again. Try to write your own grammar explanation. Like when you study, try to explain it to someone else, or try to write it in your own words. So explaining something that you've learned will help you find your gaps, actually. This is actually a really nice little trick to use. So if you don't know something completely, you can't explain it to someone else, right? So this is a really good way to test your understanding. If you're just using a textbook and you're by yourself, try to explain. Like, you can just write it down, or you can just say it out loud, the explanation. So again, use your active recall skills. Active recall means actively remembering. So that means you're trying to remember something without looking at it. Okay. Other points. Flashcards. Flashcards are a great way if your vocabulary is weak. If your vocabulary is weak, flashcards are a great way to practice. You can try spaced repetition flashcards to help you study more efficiently. I talk about spaced repetition every once in a while here. So spaced repetition means you study something, there's a small gap, and then you study again, and then you study again. So there's a special gap between your study sessions to help your brain remember the word more efficiently. We have these on our website. There are many different spaced repetition flashcards that you can find online too. Okay, and finally, online chat. So, for example, our YouTube chat, our Facebook chat, also other things like social media as well. Make sure you participate. Ask questions. Don't worry about making mistakes. Of course, like, try to be normal. Like, don't like spam messages like some people do in our chats sometimes. So make sure you participate. Don't worry about like, oh, did I write perfectly? Oh no. Like, if people know that you are learning, you're a learner, they're going to forgive your mistakes. Like, they're not gonna get angry with you usually. So please, if you're going to use online chat as a tool, great. Just make sure you participate. Again, be active in your language learning. Don't just sit there. Like, a lot of people will just turn on like music and be like, I'm studying. It's like, well, maybe, but you need to use your brain too. Yeah? You don't need to, or you need to not just sit there and take in. You also need to create as well. So keep a balance there. Okay, so some other points. Yes, the internet is a good resource. So there are many tools. Everything I just talked about, except maybe textbooks, you can find online. Yes, some people are talking about flashcards. Yes, flashcards are useful for studying grammar as well. Yeah, that's true. You can use flashcards to study grammar. Okay. Good. Okay, well, I think that is everything for today. I will show you today's lesson boards one more time so that you can take a look. So this is everything I talked about. Understanding your strong and weak points, setting good goals, and some study resource ideas. So this is everything I talked about. Please set good small goals for yourself, as we talked about in part 2. So don't just say, I want to be fluent. Think about the small things you need to do in order to become fluent. Okay, so with that, I will end today's lesson, and next week I'll be back. Of course, next week's lesson, here it is. Next week's lesson information is here, July 29th. Oh my gosh. This year is going by so quickly. July 29th will be the next lesson. I'm going to talk about basic discussion expressions and questions. So when I say discussion, I mean kind of like debate. So when you have a discussion, you have to like ask people, about their opinions, or you need to challenge them or try to support your opinion, whatever. Those kinds of things, the back and forth. I'm going to cover some basic parts for those kinds of conversations next week. So please join me live July 29th, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is New York City time. Google it to find your local time. So I'll end today's lesson there. So thank you very much for joining me again this week. That was a super good lesson. I hope that you found a way to make a new goal this week. So have a good week. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Check out the sale on our website. And thanks very much for liking, sharing the video, and for sending your awesome questions, comments, goals, and so on. I will finish up there and see you again soon. Bye.